One of the things I want to test out for this death wobble is the strut on here. I'm going to check out to see if this strut is worn out. I do have new springs, so while I'm at it, I may or may not install them. If the struts are bad, I'm just going to put everything back and then order new struts for it. Truck currently has about 62,000 miles on it, approximately. So it could be that the death wobble is caused by a weak strut, a strut that's worn out, doesn't expand right away. Because I noticed when I hit, even with these original tires here, even when I hit certain ruts, the steering wheel will start to vibrate. The worse the rut is, the more vibration, the longer it lasts. So I know I said I was going to start with the suspension on the bottom, with the bushings, ball joints, and tie rod ends, but since I have to replace this spring, I have to take this apart. I'm going to test this out. These lug nuts, I believe they're M12 by 1.25. Don't quote me on that. Take a 17 millimeter socket. It's amazing, this size tire compared to my Sierra 2017 with the upgraded tires. I need almost 2 people to install that tire. One of the things I want to do later on is the reason I got the R15 rims is I want to upgrade these brakes. I'm not so much upgrade them, but make them more accessible to purchase parts for here domestically. So I'm trying to kind of reverse engineer with some of the other Suzuki, and there's a Chevrolet Metro that this compatibility pluses with installing a new brake caliper, brake pads, and a disc rotor. Instead of buying the Japanese OEMs, which these things are pricey, this is close to 200 bucks, I think. For the cost of one side, you can do both sides and then just walk into any auto parts store or go online and then order pads and discs later on. And even if you have a failed caliper, you can just order a new caliper for about a fraction of the cost of what they're charging you for the OEM Suzuki. So first thing I'm going to do is take the brake line clip off. Pull that shaft out of there. So now to do the top. And then you try that with a regular car. Okay. Ooh. Must be a 12 or 11. Now I gotta find one. Keep moving this. Let's take a chance with 12. Yes. I'm just going to mark this for alignment later. And there it goes. So now to take this apart and test the actual shock. Here's where things start to get interesting. I'm not even sure this is going to work because of the width. hate to buy another tool. However, I'm gonna try, see if this will work. Looks like it's taking the pressure off. We'll find out. Well, it didn't blow up in my face. It's a good thing. Now, I know this is a Canadian company. I think they're called 4x4 Mini. They have this entire assembly minus a spring. As far as the don't want to lose that. I believe this rubber mount the strut, they even have the springs. They're reasonably priced, and they claim that they're made in a Monroe factory. So let's just assume that they're Monroe shocks. Now I'm gonna have to release this. So now to test these. If they don't come up quickly, that means they're no good. Now, I don't see any oil leaks around the shaft there, which is a good sign. Ah, do you think? Wow. Yep, these are definitely done. Let me make sure I can put all this back. At this point, I can put all this back and drive it, but why bother? Look at this. So, okay, I know what I'm going to be ordering. This is the one in Canada, 4x4mini.com. I'll put that in the description below or on screen. Make sure I got the correct. I was on there early this morning, and they basically had everything. Their claim is that these are heavy duty, the ones that they're selling. are heavy duty and are Monroe shocks. Let me see if I can do that without the rag. Yep, definitely that. So what I'm going to do is order new shocks for this strut assembly. New bushings. I gotta see what they mean by the bushing set. There's a bushing set. Everything else is good. All this stuff I will wash, clean up. What I'm thinking they mean by the bushing set is this part here. Oh, this is what they mean by the bushing. Yeah, now I can see it clear. This new part. So I'm going to replace this while I'm here, and at that point I'll install the new springs, new bushing. I'm going to replace this with a what's called I think they call them a cam bolt. Moog makes these, and what I'll be able to do is adjust the in and out of the tire once I put the new tires in, if they're not. So I believe that the bottom one is the one you install, and by turning it and locking into a position, I'll be able to tilt it in or out to get the correct cam. Especially with the new struts, new springs. The guy who sold me the springs saying that I should get a little bit of lift, about a 1-inch lift, because of the way the springs are designed. So with the 1-inch lift, I'm assuming that the cam will be out on the tires. So what I want to do, just to take the easy road out, we're going to start with this.
Several days later.
Okay, here goes today's big upgrade, or upgrades, modifications. New struts. These are from a company up in Canada, mini4x4.ca. All this information that you see here will be posted on the screen and in the description. However, these are Evolution. They claim it as heavy duty. I looked up the company. They make a lot of suspension products, not just for domestic vehicles, but for other high-end vehicles. Not high-end, but you know, heavy-duty vehicles. So I have a new set of struts with new strut bushings to replace the old ones, and strut bearings. I gotta see how this works into the equation. That'll be the front end. And also from another company, I purchased Progressive springs. These are rated from 250 to 300 pounds, I believe. According to this, they're made in USA. And new shocks. These are made in Japan. Supposedly I was told that these are better quality as far as ride. So this will be for the rear. All of this here will be for the front. I'm also going to be installing at the same time cam adjustment bolts. After I do all this, I'm going to check the not today, but I want to check the camber and see if I can make adjustments with this. These are for 12mm bolts, that's what's on there now. And in addition, this is for somewhere near the future. a huge modification upgrade to the brake system. New vented front disc brakes. Everything you see here is from Suzuki Esteem vehicle, and this has already been proven by someone on a forum. I'll mention that later. And new calipers, new brake pads, and new rear drum rotors. Basically, the cost of all this that you see here for both sides is the same price as if you were to buy just two OEM front disc rotors. And the original OEM disc rotors are solid, they're not vented, so this will help in dissipating some of the heat. Plus, the big huge plus is that these are all domestic parts. This fails or this wears down, or any of these components wear down, I can just go online and order a new one within 2 or 3 days. Most of the time free shipping. I have a replacement part. I don't have to worry about trying to source this out through importers here in the United States, or having it shipped from abroad at their cost plus shipping. So this is for a future installation. Biggest goal today is getting this done so I can get these new tires installed. I'm dying to use these tires. I'm hoping that it'll improve the ride. Here's another update that I kind of mentioned in the last video about the Jeep Wrangler mirrors. This modification I made with these adapters. I managed to get the final rendition on this side. This is number 5 in silver PLA plus, and the geometry from the driver to here, the angle is perfect. This is the passenger side. This is the ASA final product. It'll go there. I haven't even taken it off the bed, 3D printer bed. Even though this looks a little ugly, this will all be finished, sanded, filled in, primed and painted to match this texture. So in the end, all of this will be black with this kind of like textured black paint, and it'll look kind of OEM. Another upgrade I'm going to be doing, I just received new speakers, 6x9s, and I did already do the takeoff. They will fit perfectly here. Those are component speakers with a tweeter that'll be mounted here. So this 3D printed cover, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by having a cover for these bolts and this surgery that I did here in order to get this mounted, and it'll have a integrated tweeter mount. So the cables will go through there to the driver, to the 6x9s, out to the stereo. I'll probably do this before I even do the stereo, so I'll have all this already ran into underneath. So this is just the driver's side. This was 13 hours of printing at a very high resolution to get the best finish. But for now, we're going to concentrate on this portion. Truck's already lifted, tires are off, so we're going to start with the disassembly of the strut. We're going to have to do that jack underneath. You don't want to disconnect from this jack. Just transportation back. If you let it drop far enough, it will disconnect out of here. That's opening up. I had done this earlier, as you might have seen in the video, so this should be kind of straightforward. This is 17 millimeter. We'll be using these bolts. Except for the bottom one, I believe. Okay, well, the other thing I have to do is these spring clamps, I'm calling them. Also, you want to put it so the driving end is pointing down, because you'll need access to this. This I purchased from my 2017 GMC Sierra when I upgraded the shocks on the front. These are more heavy duty. If you're only gonna buy one of these to do your truck, try to find one with a either smaller profile this way or just a little less beefier, because these barely grab on here. They worked when I did the initial inspection of the passenger side. However, I wasn't going to buy another set. It grabs on here, but not 100% on there, and the same thing with the bottom. If you were doing this on a larger spring, I would recommend getting the correct one, or one that fits. Now this one, because there's not a lot of room here, it has to go a little lower. And this one does almost grab 100%, but takes, bites in there. You can see that one there and there doesn't, but it does work. There's not a lot of pressure here. So what I found out is you want to snug it, and then a little more. You can see it lifting from here. That means a lot of the pressure is coming off. Now, reset. Now, here's that strut bearing. With the new replacement. Now, I purchased this from 4x4mini.ca, and they sell the components separately. Like, you can buy the struts separately, you can buy the strut bushing separately, you can also buy the strut bearing separately. However, if you buy it as either a kit with this and the bushings, or this, the bushings and the bearings, you do save a lot of money versus buying them individually. If I remember correctly, this set here, not including this, was 400 Canadian dollars plus shipping. I think it translated to like under $350 USD, and then they reimbursed me like 40 Canadian dollars because the shipping was actually cheaper. So I still have to look at the final cost, but I think I'm under $350. Doesn't go up, doesn't expand or extend back up. That means these are shot. This might be the reason why I'm getting the death wobble when I hit certain ruts, and I was getting the death wobble at 35 miles per hour with those larger tires, more mass, larger diameter, slightly larger width. This is basically not doing anything. The spring, and the spring could be also worn. On top of that, it may not be fully expanding or contracting like it should, but you can see that's why these have this temporary wire there to hold it in. Once I take that out, this is going to shoot straight up, and what I want to see is that this looks like a direct replacement, just by visual looks. In my understanding, these are better shocks or struts than the OEM or some of these aftermarket ones that you're paying the top dollar still for. What I'm going to do now off camera is just my OCD side. I'm going to clean all this. I'm not going to repaint this. This might be good enough, but I'm going to clean it up, get all this 27 years of road grunge. Now you won't be using, most of these come with the nylon lock nuts, so you won't be using the lock washer and the original nut, which is, it's stuck in there because there's grease. Somebody had put grease on here. I noticed that on the other side. So this part here is going to get reused, and this is the old strut bushing. If it has the same geometry as the old one, these are a little thicker by 1/4 inch in, as far as this portion, and these old ones already show sign of wear as far as the surface goes here. Maybe not, but it's one of these things that for the few extra dollars, if you're doing this, you might as well put in, you know, new bushing. Some of these, there's minor cracks in the rubber here, so just for the few extra dollars, you might as well put in a new bushing and a new strut bearing while you're there. So anyhow, I'll be back with all these parts cleaned up on this side and ready for assembly. Coffee refill, most important. Well, I got these cleaned. It's almost brand new. Depending on the condition of your parts, you may want to decide to repaint these, but most of this stuff is not going to be seen. I am going to put on most of these products this stuff, fluid film, more like a protective layer than lubricant on all these surfaces that I won't see. So let's do this in reverse. Now I have to figure out how to get this off without taking a finger off. I mean, look at that. Versus original. That is sweet. took a photo of the assembly in case my CRS kicks in. Forgot to take my medication for that today. There's additional washer on the bottom of this part where this new nut will ride up against. That was underneath there with grease, and it's cleaned up. Now they sell all these parts. I have seen these parts, same thing with this cap, online from various vendors, domestic and abroad. So depending on your mini truck, your miles will vary as far as what you need and don't need. Now this, based on the indentations, goes on there. If I remember correctly, see, the old springs don't have this flat part on top. If I remember correctly, when I dry fitted this, this is the way it should go. Not like this, because first of all, the diameter is slightly smaller on the spring on this end than this hub here. And even if that hub was the same diameter, this part wouldn't sit flat with this incline. This is a tricky part here, because this no longer sits like that, but that's how we're going to orient it. Now this may not. I'm going to have to figure out how to compress this because of these tighter coils here. This may be a little bit more difficult to install than taking off because of the coil spacing and this, but we're going to have a go at it. Now I can do something shady here. I mean, really shady. From my experience, you want to put in this boot because it's going to make it difficult to get it in there, because this top part of the clamp pushes it that way. So I had the same issue getting back the old assembly back together. Everything I'm doing here is sketchy. Because there is no, except for this one corner, as far as biting into something, this has nothing to bite into. So yeah, we have to compress this at least a good inch. I'm going to come back. I have an idea about this, keeping this together. This is basically what I did. I took a heavy duty strap here in case this one goes that way. Hopefully it'll keep it contained as I start to tighten this up. One thing you have to is this boot. Pushing this boot back around the that rubber bushing there. Okay. Now, I already sprayed some of this fluid film between these two contacts and down here. I'll clean off the excess later after assembly. According to the instructions, better yet, a photo I have, we already have that bushing there. This cup is next. And now we have to assemble a new strut bushing onto this cap. I will take a chance with this. Oh, wrong product. You big dummy. This is just some short-term protection, maybe. As far as any rust. That's what you're looking for. Dang it. Grabbing the wrong thing. I know I forgot something here. I don't think that this goes in there. Yeah, I got this wrong. Look at what we have here. We have a strut bearing puller, courtesy of the strut manufacturer. This is how it goes. That way it rotates. So we will apply fluid film, a light coat on everything, just for some extra protection, help with the rust. Nothing excessive. That's that. If anything, it'll help with some lubrication. So we got this cap. We have the strut bearing on top, and then we have this secondary cap. And voila. Now we have this assembly. You don't have to use this stuff. I'm just using it because I want to. Wondering how much. Okay. We have this washer. Will kind of help hold this up. We still have to compress this. Oh, maybe not. Yeah. At least another, like at least another 1/4 inch, so I can get at least 2 or 3 threads of purchase on that bolt. So here we go with some more sketchy stuff. Let's see if I have the right nut for this. Fine. On it. Now, I'm gonna put this down so it catches on. Take a look at this one. It should bottom out on that face. At least that's my opinion. That means I should have about, with all the material there, no, it shouldn't bottom out. There it goes. I have about two threads sticking out, maybe a heavy 1/8. So now to disassemble this, clamps. And hopefully all of this will expand to where it needs to sit. What I have to make sure is that all the stuff is sitting where it's supposed to. That's almost sitting there. I'll knock that in place. One. Remove these paints. Remove these paints. I can lay this out. Well, it's sitting in there, but because of that flat part, it's not really sitting up on this incline. It looks like it's sitting from this point all the way around. Eventually, I don't even know which way to hit this. If no, don't want to do that. And then this. Yeah. It works. So now to reassemble this, onto the truck. Nice and shiny. It'll look like that for the first 10 miles. Okay. Assembly time. Okay, here we go. I'm all set up. The tooling stuff I need. I'm going to clean up these mating surfaces first, just so I know that, hey, it's done. Like I say, nice and shiny. I like using thread locker on everything. That's the way I've always done things. Now, depending how all this works out. Whether or not I have to put a lift for tire clearance on the new tires. This may or may not ever come out. So let's do it this way first. Get this lined up. And one thing, let's not forget the dust cap here that was cleaned off. Now, a lot of the tools you see me using, a lot of the power tools here, you don't need this. Before I had all this, I did it like everyone else. Ratchets. It's a little more, you know, regular socket set. But I have a philosophy: if and when you can, I always believe use the right tool for the right job. And usually, especially with Amazon, I don't pay for regular price that you see on there. Sometimes if I see something, whether it's a tool or an item that I need or want, get the bottom one in, I'll put it on my wish list, and I'll check up on it. And sometimes you'll find Amazon warehouse deals on it where it was used or return or like new. Holy cow. And I'll tell you one thing, out of all the items that I've purchased, not every single item is like that, but all the items that I've purchased off of Amazon from Amazon warehouse. I've only had one item that I had to return because it was missing one component. And no big deal. I just returned it and purchased a new one. I one time purchased a bed mat, one of those rubber bed mats for my GMC truck. There on the listing, I need something to bang this in. $30 off. I think I got it for like 60. Box damage. I took the chance. When it came in, the bed mat was brand new. The box that it came in was damaged. And who cares? You wind up taking it out of the box and throwing the box away. Save 30 bucks for a brand new bed mat. There it goes. That, you know, unless you like collecting boxes. Now, I'm not going to put thread locker on this because probably on a separate video I am going to, it will be, because that's going to take a while. I am going to check for the cam in and out, and also the steering is tilted a little, so I'm going to be making adjustments via these points to straighten out the, I'm hoping to do that this weekend, but that's not a critical thing. Now with these this one company, I heard a lot of great things. You can buy this. I purchased this at my local, not my local, I had to go to another town because my local one didn't have it, AutoZone, and it was the same exact price there as it was on Amazon. You can find this on Amazon. This is for a 12mm setup, and that's what these bolts are, 12mm. They make them larger, 14, 16, and this will allow you to do a plus or minus 1.75 degree adjustment, you know, in or out, because I'm thinking once I have this all set up with this new assembly, I was told that I may get a little bit of height on this, like close to an inch higher. So for now, until I get this, I'm going to set it to 0, which is basically that lobe pointing up, and then this little, what they're calling a small tab, has to line up in the 12 o'clock position along with the top of that triangle. That's the 12 o'clock position. I already fitted this earlier. You have to get it just right for that little tab to go into the 12mm hole. Now this is a 15 and this is a 14. Like I was saying about the tools, to each his own. I'm a strong believer in having the right tool for the right job when you can do it. I mean, for a one-off job now, especially if it's going to be a pricey item, I'll sometimes jerry rig. However, something that I use all the time, or most of the time, most definitely, I will purchase the item. But like I said, a lot of times I go on Amazon and the first thing I look for is Amazon warehouse, and I've saved a ton of money on both tooling and other household items, personal items, and every single time I've never had an issue with something being damaged or worn or excessively used. Most of the stuff I've lucked out, and it's been almost in the brand new condition. Now I'm not going to tighten that. I am going to I'm going to loosen that again. Unfortunately, I forgot to take my OCD medication this morning, along with my CRS. So I'm going to reverse this bolt because I know tonight when I go to bed, you see what I mean about my CRS? I know when I go to bed tonight, this will haunt me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to torque this down, because I'm not sure if I will get to this today as far as front alignment. I do want to take this for a test drive and see if this whole setup is going to work. So according to the box for this is torqued down to 65 pound-foot or 88 newtons. So as far as the tooling, even this, some of this stuff, this Tecton, which is a lot of great reviews, a lot of the stuff was Amazon warehouse, and you save, sometimes you save $2 or $3, sometimes 10, but like this I use all the time, and I have various sizes. I have a 1/4 inch one and a larger one for my truck. You know, I'll have everything listed below, and you guys decide, hey, this looks great, I think I want it, or if not, buy something else. Something that fits your needs. That's what it says, 65 foot-pounds. So dang it. I don't like using extensions upon extensions, but I don't want to pull out my next torque wrench, which has a 1/2 inch end, just for this today. So we will set it at 0 camber for now. I know that side's not going to move. There it goes. I'm going to leave it on that first click. I don't like using extensions because my understanding, and I could be wrong, they do throw the reading on this, but I'm not sure. I'm just going by what the internet tells me. So you guys look at what I use when I work on my vehicles and make a wise decision. But sometimes when I look at it is you step over $1 to pick up a nickel. It. We are golden. I'll tell you one thing, this looks nice. Next thing is the brake hose. It. Now before I do the other side, which I won't show because it's just that'll probably go faster. What I'm going to do today is that I'm going to take this brake caliper off and I'm going to hang it. I shouldn't have done that, put that clip on there. I'm going to hang it, take this off, and I'm going to dry fit the upgrade modification to see how it all sits here without the pads. I just want to make sure all this geometry works. But for now, anybody doing an upgrade on their front struts, this is kind of the deal. I know different trucks will have a different assembly on the top as far as mounting points. Some of the later models only have 2 mounting points. Some of them, I think the Honda Acti actually has a physical cap that encompasses this body member here. For some reason this portion sits a lot lower and there's a cap that goes over the metal, but it shouldn't be too much off. I highly recommend, for the price of these were about $23, a local price, and the same thing on Amazon. That way you have the option if you want to, especially if you do a lift. I know a lot of the lift kits have a camber adjustment on. It's like a slot. Some of them don't. I don't know what the differences are, and I haven't gotten into that. But at least here you'll have an option to say, hey, I want to bring it in and out to spec, or I want to bring it in and out to my comfort. And you'll have a 1.75 degree plus or minus, which is a lot, because I've seen some that only have like 1.1 or 1.2. And if you don't use it, leave it on 0, then you have it on 0. But it's there for $11 a side, roughly 12. I look at it as cheap insurance.